Alright guys, welcome to Underground Science, and in this video we're going to be talking about a type of neuroplasticity called synaptic potentiation. Alright, so this is going to be a type of neuroplasticity. Okay, so neuroplasticity. And pretty much what synaptic potentiation is that we'll see soon, is that it's just the changes in the synapse, alright, based on how many times you use that particular neuronal pathway. So let's go and jump right into it. So first, let's go and draw so again, this is in the brain, all right? So let's just go and so this is in the central nervous system, especially in the brain, all right? So let's just go ahead and draw a cell body here, right? And let's just go ahead and draw its organelles, like some of its organelles. So let's go and draw our nucleus with its DNA, all right? And let's just go, just for the sake of it, draw our mitochondria, because it's awesome, right? It's the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, and then let's go and draw our axon. All right, let's go ahead and draw our axon, or we can draw our dendrites first. All right, depending on if it's the dendrites are shown on the gray matter of the central nervous system. All right, but let's just go and draw it anyway, right? Just to show that the basic structures of a neuron. But again, we're talking about a neuron in the brain, all right? Because we're talking about neuroplasticity, and we'll see how cool this is actually, all right? Because we can relate it to real life too. Okay, so now let's draw so let's assume that our axon hillock is right there, and then after that, let's go and draw our axon. All right, so it's going to make this a little shorter, and we'll see why, all right, in just a moment. Because right now, the axon is not really our focus right now, okay? And so this is going to be our axon. And then the real focus in this video is going to be our synapse, all right, and our axon terminal, or our synaptic bulb. All right, so this is our synaptic bulb and our synapse, right, and our synaptic cleft. And let's just go ahead and draw a postsynaptic neuron. In particular, the dendrites, all right, of the postsynaptic neuron. So if we have a cell body there, right, of another postsynaptic neuron, and then we have dendrites. Okay, so let's say we have a couple of dendrites here, right? Again, this is another nerve, or a neuron. Sorry about that, not a nerve, a neuron that's in our brain. And so here's where synaptic potentiation comes and takes place, all right? So we have regular action potentials that are getting fired, right, down this axon. And we can relate it to something new, like learning a new language or something, all right, or learning a new song even. So if we're learning a new song, right, if we're using that particular neuronal pathway over and over again, right, we're going to see that in a short amount of time, if you keep on practicing every day, that you start to get better at it, and you can actually coordinate your movements, right, of your hands or something. If you're playing the piano or the guitar or something like that, or even learning a new language, you start getting faster at it, right? And sometimes you see this happen in a short period of time. So let's go and write that down. So synaptic potentiation, right? So synaptic potentiation is usually shown to occur in a short period of time. Short period of time. All right. So let's go back up and see how synaptic potentiation works. So we're regularly firing action potentials down this axon. And if we start to learn something new, right, or a new subject or something for that matter, you have to keep on practicing, keep on reviewing something in order to remember it, or soon you'll see you start to forget. That's another type of neuroplasticity, which we'll cover in another video. However, if you keep on learning that whatever new thing you're learning, right, you'll see you start getting faster at it and better at it. All right, and that's because, and even in a short period of time, and that can be because of synaptic potentiation, where for every time you start using the specific neuronal pathway here, so you keep on firing action potentials, right? Soon what starts to happen is that for every action potential that arrives, instead of releasing a certain amount of neurotransmitters here, you release way more. All right, so let's just go and write that down first. Let's go and show that. So previously, right, let's show previous neurotransmitter activity in black. So this is going to be previously, right? And then once you start to learn that whatever new thing you're learning, right, and you start to review, and practice over and over, you start getting faster at it. And now previously you only released this much, right? In the beginning, because you even noticed this, in the beginning you're slow, right? Obviously, because you just started learning it. But as time goes on and you start practicing more and more, let's go and show that with orange, all right? So as time goes on. So this is with as time goes on of continuous review, right? So you're constantly firing action potentials and using this specific neuronal pathway. What starts to happen is that now for every action potential that comes, you produce a greater response. So now instead of only the black neurotransmitters, only that many, for each action potential that reaches the synapse, you produce this many neurons, or you let go of this many neurons from the synapse or from the synaptic bulb. All right, and what is this going to do? Well, if you release way more neurotransmitters for every action potential, that means you're much more sensitive to each action potential, which means that you have much more neurotransmitters, which means that you can bind more neurotransmitters on the dendrites, on the postsynaptic cell or the postsynaptic neuron in this case, which means that you'll have more chances to fire an action potential on this neuron because of all the neurotransmitters that will provide a bunch of graded potentials. So you have a better chance of reaching this threshold potential faster. So in a sense, you'll start getting faster at whatever new thing you're learning over time, all right? Because you can potentially start to use this neuronal pathway in a faster manner, right? Because then you can start producing action potentials faster here because you can reach the threshold potential faster, right? So that's one thing for synaptic potentiation, okay? So let's go and write that down. So one thing that we learned for synaptic potentiation is that we get more sensitive, all right? So we get more sensitive at the axon terminal, right? Or in the synapse where the vesicles are, where the neurotransmitters are sitting there, right? Waiting to be released. We get more sensitive for each action potential, all right? And that causes, for synaptic potentiation at least, that causes more neurotransmitters to be released, all right, for each action potential. And that gives us more, a better chance for to fire an action potential on the postsynaptic neuron, or if this is a postsynaptic cell or something, right? It gives us more sensitivity because there's much more neurotransmitters that can bind to the receptors, all right? Now, the second thing that happens in synaptic potentiation takes part in the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, so for that, let's just go ahead and take one of these, the tip of these dendrites, and zoom in. All right, so let's go all the way here. Sorry about that, and zoom in. So what we're gonna see is this. So let's just go and draw our dendrites in like blue this time or something. And let's go and draw our cell body first, and then let's just go and draw let's just go and draw two dendrites, I guess. Two humongous dendrites. And remember, this is going to be the postsynaptic cell, or in this case, the postsynaptic neuron. And remember, the presynaptic neuron is this neuron right here. All right, and we just zoomed into one of these dendrites. And let's just go and zoom into the synapse, all right, in the synaptic cleft. So we have our axon coming down here, and then we end with our synaptic bulb and our synaptic cleft, right, our synapse as a whole. And so what's going to happen here, right? So previously we already mentioned one type of synaptic potentiation is that we'll have much more neurotransmitters here for every action potential, right? Now another type of synaptic potentiation is as you keep on continuing to use a specific neuronal pathway, right? Continue to fire action potentials down this pathway. One type is this. The other type is that on the surface of your dendrites, so let me go and clarify that the zoomed in version is the dendrites, right? And this is your cell body. So on the surface of your dendrites, you have receptors, all right? So just ready to take in ready to bind the neurotransmitters, all right? Okay, so you have receptors here. So then as for another type of synaptic potentiation is as you continue to fire action potentials down this neuronal pathway, over time, what's going to happen, right? And especially in synaptic potentiation, in a short period of time, you'll see that you build more receptors on your dendrites. So you have more receptors here that are built on the surface of your dendrites, all right? And so the reason why this is good is because now you have more sensitivity to these neurotransmitters here. So not only are you making way more or you're releasing way more neurotransmitters from your presynaptic neuron with each action potential that's coming down, right? You're also making more receptors because you have more neurotransmitters here on your dendrites, right? You're making more receptors on your dendrites. So now you have more space and more places for these neurotransmitters to bind, which will, if it's, if we're talking about a stimulatory neurotransmitter here, there's going to be much more chance that we'll have many graded potentials that will go down to the axon hillock, which is about right here, and we'll have more chances of reaching that threshold potential faster and potentially fire an action potential down the axon of this postsynaptic neuron, right? And so that's the two main types of synaptic potentiation, all right? And so I hope this video made sense to you guys. That's what I wanted to get through in this video. So so let me just go and write the other type is that we will build more receptors on our dendrites, on the surface of our dendrites, all right? So those are the two main types of neuroplasticity in terms of synaptic potentiation, right, that I wanted to get through in this video, all right? So these two, all right? And also just remember that synaptic potentiation is known to have been over a short period of time. All right, guys, so that's it. I hope this video made sense to you guys. I hope to see you guys in my future videos. We'll talk about more cool topics about biochem, physics, and chem. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, like, and subscribe. See you guys later, and stay safe.